Hi. Um, I know I'm gonna say might cause a stare, or it could be maybe very controversial. But there's a thing I've been watching, and I've been asking myself questions. Maybe you guys can assist with answering. Why do men kneel when they ask for proposal, or when they're proposing to their girlfriend or woman or partner, whatever? And then these men, they kneel down. Will you please marry me? Kneeling down. I just I just have issues because why do you have to kneel down? Why can't you just ask her, like, would you marry me without kneeling down? Because kneeling down, it's I can kneel to God when I'm asking for mercy. I can kneel to God as a sign of worship because God is a superpower. He's above everything. He's the greatest, and then that's how I kneel to God, something that is above me, and it's a sign of I'm humbling myself and coming before you. And and kneeling down is when you're begging. So I feel like when a man kneels down, begging, proposing to a woman, I feel like you giving a woman with no option to say no. I feel like when you're proposing a woman kneeling down, it's sort of manipulative. I think you're manipulating her to say not to say no because you are kneeling down. Will you please marry me? But if we were standing and chatting, will you marry me? As easy as it is, I don't know. Maybe women find it sweet when a man kneels down and asks them to marry me. I just feel like as a man, when I'm kneeling down to a woman, I'm just throwing my power away. I'm throwing my manhood away. I wouldn't kneel to a human being. I don't want to put a gender to it. I wouldn't kneel to any man. I wouldn't say a woman or male, but I wouldn't kneel to any human being. The only thing I will kneel is, I will kneel to God because God is above everything. He's my God. That's where I can kneel. And yeah, and most of the time people who would kneel, it's people who they're about to be killed or something. It has to be, when you're asking, begging for mercy, for forgiveness or whatever, people kneel down as a show of, I don't know. But now when you're proposing and now every man kneels down, I think there are certain women who wants to say no, they don't want to marry you, but because you kneel down, you sort of manipulated them, and now they can't say no. We don't want to marry you. I mean, there's been instances, especially even the worst part, that it is also very controversial for me is where it's in the public, where you propose in public. I just feel it's somehow psychotic. Why you wanna, propose in the public? I feel like you're putting her in a corner. Maybe there are those who enjoy that space, but somehow I feel like you're just putting her in a corner to not say no to you, to say, "Can I think about it?" And most of the time, this proposal, they come as a surprise. So she's still surprised. She's still not herself. She's still in shock. You are on your knees. There's a lot of people around you, and you're proposing to her, and she can't say no because of your proposal. So I think it's very manipulative, and we need to look at it. When you propose to a woman, do you have to kneel down? Does it have to be public? I think it's a marriage. It's a meeting between two people. It's very sacred. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very sacred. And now when one starts to propose in a different way, where it's very psychotic, manipulative, where you can say no, where you can think, are you sure about this? And then you just say yes. And it doesn't have to be always a man has to be ready, because most of the men don't says, I'm not ready for marriage. But also, are women ready for marriage? Are they ready to marry you? It's the same thing when I says, "Ish, I don't think I'm not ready yet." I believe now we're living in a modern world where everything is almost 50-50. Women are in higher position, influential position. And when you propose it, they also need to be ready. So I think for me, I think the kneeling down is an old thing. In the modern day now, we need to sit down and look at it. When you propose to a woman, that's why some they say take classes. When you go to church, take marriage classes, take these classes, for marriage. And when you propose, mostly people, you don't have doesn't have to be public. Maybe you can do public, and after you have conversed, because now you're starting a new journey. Is the other partner ready? Are you forcing her to be ready? Because certain people can be ready after 2 years or 3 years. So when you propose in public, I think we're losing it there. So I think as men, we need to sit down and, when we want to marry a woman, ask them, I want to marry you. Are you ready for us to marry? It doesn't have to be in public. And marriage is not a Hollywood. Marriage is not some movies. Sometimes we're intrigued by what Hollywood is giving it to us, and we want to bring it into our lives. Hollywood is Hollywood. They are doing their own things, the stories, the drama, but realities of ours, for us human beings, it's two different, things. So you can't bring Hollywood into your life. You can't bring it to anyone. The same thing that applies, that you can't bring things that you watch on porn when I bring it to your bedroom. You understand? That's the thing people are saying, that pornography is destroying a lot of relationship, is destroying a lot of marriage. So my point was the kneeling down. It's for me, I believe that maybe you first talk about it. Is she ready? Ask her questions. What is the plan? After that, you find out she's ready and she's willing, and you ask her first. And then maybe some other day, then you can start doing that surprise proposal and so forth. But I believe that the first thing first, before you can even do kneeling down and all those things, which I don't agree with, talk to her. Are you ready for marriage? Are you ready for this? And it doesn't matter whether she's pregnant, because some people can say, she's pregnant, let's just marry to do it right. But first, engage and talk, because when you go into marriage, you go into a different perspective. It's a different life, it's a secret life, and you don't want to sort of mess it up. So yeah, man, that's my that's my advice. And I must advise, man, don't just kneel. I feel like as a man, like, I'm sorry, but I feel like no man, no man should kneel to another man. If you want to marry someone, ask them, will you marry me, without kneeling, getting all the public all around you. Just ask them. Let's not dramatize and complicate. Let's leave that to Hollywood, and let's not try to benchmark and all those things. And then after both of you have agreed and talked, then when is you can call the family and do the drama. Tell them, hey, we're doing a surprise. But you know that you guys have finalized your things. You are ready, and so forth. And I think that would be awesome. I mean, I was listening to this guy. He says, you know what? We tend to start, from the last, without building, we want to start having sex before we even start building friendship, all those things, familyship, building values and integrity and courage and honesty, but we just want to rush and find ourselves in last. So, but once we can overcome that, and then that would be one of the great. So yeah, that's my advice. If you got a different idea, or I don't know, but with me, I don't agree with kneeling. If you want to marry someone, propose with them. That's why on the pulpit, when the pastor is there, no one is kneeling down. You take the ring, you vow to the pastor, will you vow, I'll marry you, I'll be what. There was no kneeling. And then after the finishing, exchanging rings, you kneel down, and what do they do? The pastor prays for you. He invites God who's above. That's where you kneel. When the pastor, you guys have put rings, and now you start, because now they are putting power that what has God brought together, no one should separate. They are strengthening. That's where you kneel, that God strengthen this relationship. Cheers.